On lesson 5-3, we are talking about complex fractions, and complex fractions are fractions with one or more fractions in the numerator, denominator, or both. Okay, so I like to call a complex fraction a fraction within a fraction. Complex fractions are simplified when both the numerator and denominator are integers. So here they're both fractions. I would need to make them both into integers in order for it to be in simplified form. With fractions, remember that fraction bar really means division. So what this is really saying is 1/3 divided by 1/2. And for 1/3 divided by 1/2, you know how to divide fractions. To divide fractions, we do keep, change to multiplication, flip to the reciprocal. So now you can simplify, but on this one I don't see anything to simplify first. Then we multiply straight across. So 1 times 2 is 2, 3 times 1 is 3. So my answer would be 2/3, because now both the numerator and the denominator are integers. So if you look at some of the got it problems, for example 1b, we would have 2/3 divided by 3/4. That's what it's saying. So we take 2/3 and keep, change to multiplication, flip to the reciprocal. On this one I cannot simplify. And the reason I can't is because the 2 and the 4 are both on the top, the 3 and the 3 are both on the bottom. Remember, to simplify, one has to be on the top, one has to be on the bottom. So when we multiply straight across, that would be 8/9. Okay? Very similar for example 2. The difference is now it's not both the numerator and the denominator that are fractions, it's just one or the other. And it's kind of hard to tell sometimes where you're actually dividing, but on this one it is really 1/4 divided by 2. The longer fraction bar is really where we're dividing, so that's why it says 1/4 divided by 2. So once you have them like this, you have to change your integer into a fraction by putting it over 1. Then you do your keep, change, flip, multiply straight across, and you have your answer. It's sometimes kind of hard to tell where the fraction bar is, so if you need help with that, just let me know and I can help you. So on this one, it's 2/4 divided by 2, which would be 2/1. So we keep, we change, we flip. I notice that I can simplify. 2 divided by 2 is 1, 2 divided by 2 is 1. So when I multiply straight across, now I get 1/4. On this one, it would be 14 divided by 7/9. So that would be really a 14/1. I keep, I change, and I flip, take the reciprocal. On this one, I see that 14 divided by 7 is 2, 7 divided by 7 is 1, multiply straight across, and I get 18/1. And when we talked the other day, when we were talking about ratios, I said we had to keep it this way. We couldn't simplify just to be 18, because in a ratio, it's a comparison of two numbers, meaning I need the two numbers still to stay there. On this today, you just simplify as you normally would. So it would just be 18. Sometimes you will see this as a story problem. So Josiah can jog 1 1/3 miles in 1/4 hour. Find his average speed in miles per hour. The very first thing you want to do is write your your complex fraction. So I'd have 1 1/3 mile over 1/4 hour. And on this one, you have to make sure you have them in the correct spots, the numerator and the denominator. You can tell not by what comes first in the question, but what it's asking you to find. It wants miles per hour. That means miles over hours. From there, it works just like we did before. When you have a mixed number, you have to change it to an improper fraction. So 3 times 1 is 3 plus 1 would be 4/3 over 1/4. We take the top number divided by the bottom number, keep, change, flip, and when you do that you get 16/3. Now, it's really important how you write your answer. So if you're going to keep it as 16/3, make sure you're doing miles per hour for your label like that. If you write 16/3 and put miles over hour like that, you technically still have the correct ratio. If this ratio is the same as this ratio, the difference is it wants per hour. That means this is supposed to be for 1 hour. And this is this many miles for 1 hour. This says this many miles for 3 hours. So that's not the correct way to write that for the label. If you look at, let's do 3B. Aubrey can walk 4½ miles in 1½ hours. Find her average speed in miles per hour. So 4½ miles over 1½ hours, because they asked for miles per hour. So miles on the top, hours on the bottom. 4½ that turns into 4 times 2 is 8 plus 1 is 9/2. And 1 times 2 is 2 plus 1 is 3/2. So that's 9/3 divided by 3/2. I do my keep, my change, my flip. I can simplify. 3 divided by 3 is 1, 9 divided by 3 is 3. And from there, you could actually simplify more if you wanted to. And you could say 3 divided by 3 is 1, 3 divided by 3 is 1. When you multiply straight across, you get 2 miles per hour. 2 miles per hour. And that doesn't sound right to me. It's like, okay, that's not what we got in class when we did it. And the reason is I accidentally wrote the wrong number here. So that should have been a 2. Alright, so then when we do keep, change, flip, there is something that simplifies, but it's not what I had simplifying before. So the 3 divided by 3 is 1, 9 divided by 3 is 3, and then my 2 divided by 2 is 1, 2 divided by 2 is 1. So it would be 3 miles per hour. Sorry about that. Make sure you're writing it correctly when you go from your complex fraction over here. The very last type of problem is it's going to ask about changing a percent to a fraction. And you might be looking at it and saying, well, it already is a fraction. Okay, but that's kind of like when we say change a percent to a number. That means get rid of the percent part of it. Percents are always out of 100, so you have to move it over 2 spots. Okay, so it's kind of the same idea. We're trying to get rid of the percent sign. Since percents are always out of 100, that means to get rid of it, we make it into a complex fraction over 100. Once you have your complex fraction, you change 2 times 4 is 9 plus, is 8 plus 1 is 9 over 100. Don't forget, when you go to rewrite this, you have to keep that bottom number. People tend to just do 9 over 100. That's my answer. So you have to completely change this to 9/2, then divide by 100. So that would be 9/2 divided by 100 over 1. I do my keep, change, flip. There's nothing I can simplify, so when I multiply straight across, I get 9/200. Let's look at 4B. On 4B, to get rid of the percent sign, percents are always out of 100. So 2 times 12 is 24, plus 1 is 25. Keep that bottom number, then all of that divided by 100. So I do my keep, change, and then flip. 100 becomes 1 over 100. I see that I can simplify 25 divided by 25 is 1, 100 divided by 25 is 4. Multiply straight across. 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 4 is 8. So on that one it would be 1/8. Let me know if you have any questions on any of these.